make the games, they do a really, really good job of just giving you a really nice view of the area around you. That area right down there, to my knowledge, is not an area that you're ever going to be playing through. But the fact that it's there and you can look at it, and it kind of gives you a setting of the area, just it's really, really nice that FromSoft gives you these little things to look at in a game. You know, as difficult as Dark Souls is, that they put all these little things in here for you to notice, and it's really, really nice touch. Like, I love that they do that. And then like this big tree here and all this stuff around here that kind of adds to the mood and the setting. Like FromSoft does a really, really nice job working on the gameplay of these games as well as the surrounding areas of these games. But as you can tell by this area, and you'll notice with most other areas throughout the game, is that when you come to a big courtyard like this, and you can clearly see, like this guy right here, this guy in the middle here, he looks dead, absolutely looks dead, but you can see that thing pulsing through him. Now, 99 times out of 10, this will be in boss area. Like a big courtyard like this with either an enemy right in the middle or just nobody here. If there's nobody here, there's a chance that, you know, there's a possibility like, hey, it may not be a boss area. But like I said, 9 times out of 10, big courtyards like this will mainly be boss areas. Now, one thing I want to let you guys in on right now is I myself will not be keeping a death count. But if you guys in the stream and on YouTube want to keep a death count, that would be lovely. And at the end, I will actually make a death montage of every single time that I die, if you guys would like to see that. But another heads up to how you can usually tell it's a boss area is these red spots right here. Bloodstains are essentially visions of how somebody has died. So you'll notice I touch a bloodstain, and you can see kind of a little red shadow moving around in the area. So right here, you'll see this guy runs over here, and he is fighting something. Obviously, you can tell he takes a couple swings, and then he dies right here. So that's another heads up. If you see a lot of blood spots in any given area, then chances are it is a boss area or there is a tough enemy coming up. But like I said, I have played through this part before, so I do know for a fact that this is the first mandatory boss of the game. So I'm going to get this started. You come up, you walk up to him, and you remove this sword. As you can see, it's got the blood coming out of him. And then he stands up. And that begins the boss fight. So this guy is relatively easy. You can parry him if you get the timing down right. Here, I'll try and show it off. Like that right there. And once you parry, you walk up, press R1, and that actually gets you a critical attack. Now those, as you can tell, do a buttload of damage. So the more you can do that, the better, but don't parry unless you can absolutely get the timing down. Like that right there. Boom. So that is the second parry, and this enemy right here actually has 2 phases. So right here is his second phase. He morphs into this big creature. Now he's much more difficult to fight. So what I tend to do in this part is I will wait for him to do that jump attack, and then I'll dodge out of the way, and I will hit him like that. Now see, that attack right there is really difficult to dodge. So if I can bait that jump attack from him and roll into him and get a couple hits off, then more power to me. Alright, there you go. So this, relatively, you know, first boss of the game, he is pretty simple to fight. So just bait that jump attack like that. Ooh, that was close. I'm going to heal up really quick. Alright, so I'm going to try and get back here and bait that jump attack once again. Ooh, that was rough. Oh. Heal up once again. Alright, so I should be at a good distance. Here goes the jump attack. And I can hopefully finish him off right here. There we go. So that is the first boss taken care of. He's, like I said, he's relatively easy. You can parry the attacks at first. In that first phase, you can parry all of his attacks, but in that second phase, you cannot. So I tend to bait that jump attack, and if you do that, that will help you through the battle. Now, one thing I have forgotten to explain is Estus Flasks. So for those who haven't played Dark Souls before, Estus Flasks are essentially your health potions. Now, look, if you look down on the bottom, you'll see that little greenish gold vial there. That is your Estus Flask, and that heals your health to a certain degree. As you play through the game, you'll get certain items that will allow the Estus Flask to increase the amount of health it restores to you, which is always a good thing. As well as, you'll find things called Estus Shards, and they will increase the amount you can carry. So if you rest at a bonfire, as you know, it will increase your health, or not increase, it'll restore your health and any issues you have going on with you at that time. And it'll also increase your Estus Flask. Now, this right here is called an Ashen Estus Flask, and what that does is, there's a little blue bar at the top right underneath my health bar, and that is the FP bar, or essentially your mana bar. And the Ashen Estus Flask, as you can tell by the blue coloring, will restore the FP gauge a certain amount as you level up. But another thing I would like to draw attention to as we come through into this next area is, as you can clearly see, my health bar has increased by, I want to say, 30-40%. Reason for that is, right next to my health bar, you can see that little stone thing, and it's kind of lit up with fire in it, and you can tell I've got cinders coming off me and I'm glowing red. Now, what that is something called Ember. And in this game, what Ember does is, first of all, if you are low on health, it will restore all of your lost health, as well as increase your health limit. Now, the effects of the Ember last only until you die. So if you die, you lose all the effects of the Ember, the health increase, and well, that's pretty much the only effect of it is the health increase, as well as you need to be embered in order to do multiplayer. But this is not going to be a multiplayer playthrough of this, so I'm just going to go through it. But it does give you that nice glowing kind of, it looks like you're on fire, like you just, the remains of a fire. Like, you know how what wood looks like after it's been on fire and the fire goes out? That's essentially what we look like right now. But as you notice, I just picked up something called a Homeward Bone. And what Homeward Bones do is, you can purchase them, but you do find them in the field of battle quite often. And what they do simply is they return you to the last bonfire that you rested at. And in this game, they added an effect of it where you can actually return back to the hub of the game using a Homeward Bone. And Homeward Bones, depending on what's going on, can be very useful. But if you are going to use a Homeward Bone, just bear in mind that you cannot use it if you're taking damage. So if you start using it and you take damage, then it will stop. Like, the effect of it will stop. You will stop returning to the hub of the game or to your bonfire. So make sure you're in a safe area if you are going to use one. So there we have it. Those are the embers. And after each boss fight, your ember will be restored, but as well as embers are consumable items. So it clearly says here, gain the strength of flame, boosting HP until death. And we'll read here, no unkindled can ever truly claim the embers that burn within a champion's bosom, which is precisely what makes their yearning for warmth so keen. Gain the strength of flame and increased HP until death. With the strength of fire, the summoning signs of unkindled become visible, and seekers of embers can be summoned to join cooperation. But beware, the embers may also attract invaders. So, if you have your online function turned on, it will allow, yes, you can connect with your friends, which is great, but as in the previous Dark Souls and Bloodborne games, it also makes it so that people can invade your world and actually come kill you. And the effects of Ember wear off when you die. So, for this playthrough, I'm going to actually set it right now, but I'm going to turn matchmaking off so that nobody can invade my world. I am offline as of right now. So really quick, this area right here is the hub area of the game. this is Firelink Shrine. So this little bowl in the middle here, first thing first, that sword that we pulled from the boss a moment ago, this is actually a bonfire, and we're going to use that item to light this bonfire. But first, we do need to talk to this woman right here.
Bonfire, unkindled one. I'm the firekeeper. I tend to the flame, and tend to thee. The lords have left their thrones, and must be delivered to them. To this end I am thy son.
So this woman right here is actually the woman that allows you to level up in the game. So what you do
Very well.
is not
Then
only
touch
are
the
souls the
darkness
money
with
system in
taking
the
up.
game, but they're also the experience. So what I'm gonna do, what I want to focus on throughout this playthrough is I'm gonna focus on endurance, as well as strength, dexterity, and vigor. So strength, endurance, vitality, not vitality, strength, endurance, vigor, and dex. So strength and dex kind of go hand in hand. Dexterity is essentially, another strength stat. So as you can see here, the more I increase my dex, you'll notice that all my my weapon damage goes up. So, and the more you increase it, the more your damage goes up. As you can see, when I increase it one level, it brings my damage from 51 to 53, but those are only in my unarmed slots. But if I increase it again, it increases my right hand weapon 1, so that's the only armed weapon I have currently. But it increases the damage of that as well. So if you are going to work on dex, you need to focus on strength as well. So the more you increase strength, the more equal they are, the higher your attack stat will be. So I'm going to up that to 11 and also up my endurance just once, because my strength is already at 16, so it's nothing I really need to worry about right now. But that is how you level up in the game.
Farewell.
So as you can see here, embed the coiled sword. So you take that sword that you pulled from the boss and you put it right in here, and that lights the bonfire in the hub. And one thing I feel I should mention because of a question from someone in the chat. When you go in the menu, it does not pause the game. So if you are getting attacked, you will continue to get attacked if you are paused. As you can see, I'm still moving around, I can go into my inventory and still move. You see stuff moving in the background. So if you are going to pause or try to do anything like that, you need to make sure that you are in a safe area and you're not getting attacked. So really quick, we're going to talk to this gentleman right here.
Ah, another one roused from the sleep of death. Well, you're not alone. We unkindled are worthless. Can't even die right. Gives me conniptions. And they'd have us seek the lords of Cinder and return them to their molten thrones. But we are talking true legends with the metal to link the fire. Not fit to lick their boots.
So this gentleman right here, as you can tell, is kind of in a bad spot. So what he said was, we are unkindled. And in the previous Dark Souls games, you played as the undead. You were the cursed undead or the chosen undead. And what that did was, essentially, as we know, you couldn't die. So if you did die, you always came back to life. But as undead, if you died, your health bar would continue to decrease to a certain point until you defeated the boss of the area. But in this game, if you die, your health bar does not decrease. In fact, there's no downside to dying in these games. Or Dark Souls 3 and Bloodborne had that effect. But dying does nothing bad to you in this game aside from lose your souls. But really quick, we're going to talk to this woman right here as well.
A pleasure to make thy